Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Gear Up. Here's what's in store for you today. The Rangers make it to their second straight World Series, and one of their players sets two postseason records. Manny Ramirez pleads not guilty to a domestic battery charge. Miami Dolphins player says he's probably going to get fined for his actions in tomorrow's game. Some local high school football scores, and I rank the top 5 sports nicknames of all time. I'm Michael Peters, and you're watching Gear Up. First, we'll do some MLB news. In the ALCS, a 9-run third inning propels the Rangers to their second World Series in the same amount of years. They defeated the Tigers 15-5, and Nelson Cruz was named MVP after he set up postseason records for most home runs, 6, and most RBIs, 13, in a postseason series. In the NLCS, the Cardinals are leading the Brewers 3-2 as a win tonight would send them to the World Series. The Brewers committed 4 errors in a Friday loss. They lost 7-1. Manny Ramirez has pleaded not guilty to a domestic battery charge involving his wife. She said he slapped her, causing her head to hit a bed headboard, which Ramirez denied. He was arrested on September 12th. Now we'll go to the NFL. My game of the week this week is the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Houston is getting 7 points, but I don't know why. The Texans are 3-2 and beat the Steelers and lost to New Orleans by only a touchdown. They are 5th in rushing yards per game and 11th in passing yards per game. They are also 6th in opponents' passing yards per game and 12th in opponents' rushing yards per game. I think the Texans will cover and might even win this game. This past summer, Brandon Marshall admitted he has borderline personality disorder, but that doesn't excuse him from what he said recently. My goal is to get thrown out midway through the second quarter, Marshall said about the Dolphins' Monday night game against the Jets. I'm serious. They want to fine me. It'll probably be like a $50,000 fine. But I'm going to play. That quarter and a half I'm out there, I'm going to play like a monster. Hey, Brandon, you might as well throw the flag yourself and write the NFL a check now with a statement like that. Now we'll move to some college football. Here are some top 25 scores from the past week. Number 6 ranked Oklahoma State beats conference rival number 22 ranked Texas 38-26. Number 8 ranked Clemson defeats Maryland 56-45 in a slugfest after being down by 18 points. I guess you could say the defense wasn't a strong point for both teams in that game. Number 9 ranked Oregon beats Pac-10 foe 18 ranked Arizona State 41-27. Number 23 ranked Michigan State upsets rival 11th ranked Michigan 28-14 to improve to 5-1 on the season. Virginia upsets number 12th ranked Georgia Tech 24-21. Number 15th ranked South Carolina barely escapes Mississippi State 14-12. And number 21 ranked Texas A&M crushes number 20 ranked Baylor 55-28. My upset alert for this week is Michigan State versus Wisconsin. Michigan State is home and they are 5-1. They lost to Notre Dame in their 3rd game of the season, but they have won 3 straight games and beat their rival 11th ranked Michigan yesterday 28-14. They are 4th in points against, and their home crowd will give them plenty of momentum and will rattle the visiting number 4 ranked Badgers. Now for some local high school football scores. Allentown defeats New Egypt 31-28 in New Egypt's homecoming game. Steiner improves to 4-1 by beating Trenton 37-14. Pemberton beats Princeton in a close game 18-13. West Windsor Plainsboro South crushes West Windsor Plainsboro North 48-0 to improve to 6-0. All right, we're doing that again.
Raise your hand.
I know. All the local high school football scores. 3, 2, 1. Now for some local high school football scores. Allentown defeats New Egypt 31-28 in New Egypt's homecoming game. Steiner improves to 4-1 by beating Trenton 37-14. Pemberton beats Princeton in a close game 18-13. West Windsor Plainsboro South crushes West Windsor Plainsboro North 48-0 to improve to 6-0. And Notre Dame loses a heartbreaker to Rancocas Valley 20-15 to fall to 3-3 on the season. Now for this week's edition of Mike Speaks Out. Today I will be talking about if you had to get a single for the cycle and you hit a ball in the gap, would you keep running? My answer is absolutely. I would take a double or triple over a single any day, no matter what. Stomping at first would be what someone who isn't a team player would do. That person would only care about getting in the record books, and the local and maybe national newspapers would be all over them and make their next few days a living hell. Barry Bonds has the record for most career MLB home runs, and he used steroids. So what does that tell you about the legibility of the MLB records? The fans would admire the person that kept running instead of stopping at first base, and would dislike the person that did the opposite. The game of baseball can change in an instant, and you have to take everything the opposing team gives you. Every game counts, and if you stayed at first base and your team lost, it could cost you a trip to the playoffs. Maybe you'll hit for the cycle another time in your career, but if you don't, look at it as another extra base hit you got. Now we'll move to some this day in history. In 1921, Jim Conzelman takes over as coach of the Rock Island Independents from Frank Coughlin, which was the only mid-game coaching change in NFL history. In 1968, the Milwaukee Bucks played their first NBA game, losing to the Chicago Bulls 89-84. Now we'll move to the top 5. The top 5 this week is the top 5 sports nicknames of all time. At number 5, we have the mailman, Karl Malone. This was given to him simply because he delivers. At 4, we have Pistol Pete Maravich for his lights out from the hip shooting style. At 3, we have the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, hearing this nickname because of his enthusiasm. At number 2, we have Cy Young, which came from his quickly earned nickname Cyclone. His real name is Denton True Young. And at number 1, we have Shoeless Joe Jackson. He got his nickname from a single game he played without spikes because he had blisters. When he got a triple that game, a fan stood up and said, "You shoeless son of a gun." That concludes this week's episode, and have a wonderful day.